Wait, do we not have delay? Hello, everyone.
Yep.
This is fun.
We're just not going to talk about it. We're going to put this onto, I think the viewers here had a bit of a group hallucination that we didn't do an intro, but we did.
Yeah.
And
our analysis was really good,
yeah,
actually.
and it may have been
It was
removed
so
from the
good.
VOD. It's a conspiracy, but we're not going to get into it because right now we are in to the first and final match of the day here. It's going to be Zach Gaming versus Team EOS, but of course you knew that from our excellent intro that was definitely streamed here. Oregon, really kind of standard here, and even more standard, we've got a Ying ban.
My prediction was correct.
In the league,
heard.
Yep. But Ying is to be expected. A very oppressive attacker. I've said it thousands of times before. It can be very difficult to dislodge defenders from some positions without it. So that's, of course, why she's seeing the ban face here. And Dekaibi too, another operator that's very good for those roam clears, very good at dealing with defenders and finding out where they are. And on top of that, that added passive of being able to take over defender gadgets in terms of cameras, very, very good for the attack.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think if anything that we said in the intro bears repeating just because of how important those facts are, obviously. I think maybe just sort of the difference in win records for these teams on Oregon specifically is pretty important. Team EOS, what do you say, about 2/3 of their matches they've won, or if not better, and Zach Gaming currently 2 and 3. So to see us end up here is pretty surprising. Personally, I don't know if you have the exact number in front of you, Joe, for EOS.
EOS are 8 and 4 in terms of maps on Oregon. So yeah, 2.0 win-loss here compared to, as we were saying, not even a positive win ratio for Zach Gaming here. And that's a real rarity you see with teams because of just how many times you play Oregon. It's almost like you'd expect them to be winning it more than losing it just based on such a big sample size. Zach Gaming just, I guess, don't have that inherent advantage there from perhaps just not playing enough matches here. But heading into this first round, it will be that standard basement defense that lots of teams like to start off with. It's a very comfortable site for the defense as it tends to bottleneck attackers through one of 4 routes. You can be very, very risky, go down laundry, but a lot of teams tend to favor towards the bunker or the tower or go towards freezer, and that really favors defenders because they can just hold their angles, wait for the attack to walk in, and completely destroy them. So it's going to be difficult for Zach Gaming here, who also, I believe, chose to start on the attack here.
Yeah, although potentially that was a mistake and they actually wanted to start on the defense. Either way, they selected to start on the attack, and that's what we have to go with. just shenanigans all around and just general tomfoolery. Shliwu has missed a drone there as well, going for the jump out, just checking these cameras as well. But it seems like Zach Gaming aren't spawning over towards Street, so Shliwu just going to dip back down completely unaffected, and everyone stays on 100 HP or plus as a result.
Yep, still very, very quiet here. Usually you tend to see these teams want to start with a bit of a bang, but everyone just playing quite passively. There is going to be a bit of an engagement towards tower soon enough as the defenders getting quite aggressive, trying to catch the attack off guard, but still no damage exchange. Shliwu goes for a very aggressive swing, but maintains all of his health. Vasi too managed to get down there, and I'm quite bewildered as to how still no one has taken a lick of HP here despite these very close engagements.
It's a Christmas miracle, as there we go, the first sort of engagement actually comes through, and it's empty stuff to find the opener, taking out Bless for the attack inside. So Zach Gaming at an immediate disadvantage here inside of this round.
Yeah, and that can be very, very difficult because, as you said, they're at that disadvantage. They can't even play for trades anymore. If EOS want to, they can then get incredibly passive and just use that man advantage to help them win this. It's going to get even worse as Vasi takes down another here. There is just seemingly no hope for Zach Gaming in this first round. They're trying to get closer to the site, but nothing is working. And with this oppressive presence of Shliwu still in meeting, he's at the very least going to cause a bit of chaos, a bit of a distraction as Freddy G's taken down, but traded Him instead gets that pick. 2 versus 4 now. Zach Gaming just can't seem to get a foot into this round, Cameron.
Yeah, we said that EOS might want to play back, but instead they are still keeping up the aggression. We saw Vasi on those tower stairs pushing up with a shotgun, and now that most recent engagement as well down inside of the bunker. Very aggressive from this defensive side, and Zach Gaming don't really know how to attack it. There's Risk pushing in through the kitchen. I don't know if they're aware of Shliu's position. It feels like a lot of the drone work has kind of gone amiss as they're just face checking all of these angles into 40 seconds, still just checking these corners face by face, one at a time. Risk now pushing down the backside. Vasi, though, comes up and takes down Gashto. Shliu hears the sound, but is taken down by Risk, who finds himself at least a down onto Entiensaft as well. Suddenly, it's a 1 versus 2, a bit more winnable, but still 20 seconds does potentially have that ability just to heal himself back up, but with so little time, he's just mainly going to be padding his stats here. Goes for that kill, and the swing comes on through from Vasi. It's going to be finished off. EOS with the first round.
Yeah, very, very dominant win for EOS in that first round, despite getting a little bit close at the end. There was maybe a bit too much aggression coming out from those defenders, but the round was already won from that point. That's just the plain and simple truth. The efforts in that earlier phase of the round allowed for them to get a bit cocky, get a bit aggressive, and even if they did take a couple losses, it was an unwinnable situation for Risk there. No time, no real positioning either. Very nice from Team EOS there, and Zach Gaming have got a lot to think about because they were gifted with quite a few opportunities for early picks there. We saw a lot of aggression coming out of the side of EOS at the start, and yet Zach Gaming just couldn't really capitalize on it. So going forward, we maybe see EOS continue with that game plan. And if they do, it's on the shoulders of Zach Gaming to really take advantage of that. Just completely counter these aggressive swings, because that gives you a free advantage here. As looking at this lineup, it does seem to be quite aggressive. Seeing that Mozzie, the Wamai 2 often played in a more aggressive manner. I guess with the Echo 2 potentially could drive them around, just ping out attacking positions. So Zach Gaming have got a lot to worry about here, and the only thing to really stop it, I'd say, is that Gridlock. But still, Gridlock tends to be used more like an entry operator now. With those frag grenades, and the gadget almost sees less playtime. And unfortunately, Blessery is going to see even less playtime because he's taken off the board immediately. A spawn peek from that Mozzie.
Yeah, second opening death for Blessery, and that's unfortunate to see. Not had a chance to have an impact inside of this one. Something fortunate, though, for Zach Gaming is that we do have a disconnect on the side of EOS, and there's another kill to boot. Zello takes out Shliu, so now advantage lies with the attacking side of Zach Gaming, and they've lost a bit of that roam presence as well as that replenishable utility that the Wamai brings. Those magnets obviously do recharge over time, and now that is gone as well. So looking good for Zach Gaming, but still plenty of opportunity for aggression to come through from Team EOS. And we can see them battling down the hatches as nades come in. They are just going to really focus on this one angle of attack.
Yeah, but the defense, that means they have a very easy job ahead of them. They can just continue holding this side, and Vasi gets one onto Risk. 3 versus 3 now as the attacker being forced to move a bit away elsewhere, though. Shliu did end up paying with his life, so that's another defender off the board, leaving it just Ethan and Freddy. Very aggressive for the Echo player here, just holding the shield, trying to get one, and he doesn't. Zelu completely shuts him down there, and it leaves EOS in a much worse position now. Those Echo drones are going to be completely stationary here, which limits the ability to deny plans to get any more intel and disrupt the attack. It's on these remaining 2 defenders, and they've got a lot of angles to worry about, even more so as Gasha gets one, doesn't quite get the second, but Vasi's in a 1v2, proning as the Frost here, very low rate of fire gun, mentioning that as well. So this is going to be difficult for him, and Zach Gaming have such a mountain of time here, but they aren't watching their own holes. Vasi could get away with a freebie here, but only gets one. Cruzbauer on such a low mark of HP. Vasi needs to try and lock this off here. There's no chance that Zelu can get revived, but with a flashbang coming through, Vasi's going to be completely blind. Pre-fires, I believe, but Cruzbauer doesn't quite swing yet. Waits, chooses opportunity well, and gets the pick, and was very close. But Zach Gaming, they walk out as the victors of round 2.
An unfortunate disconnect there for EOS, and kind of crumbles beneath him. Vasi did give it a good go, but as soon as you have that disadvantage, it was essentially like playing the round in a 4v5 to begin with, because only marginal amounts of utility that could have come through from from N-Team. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but they still made it very, very close. And that's at least a little bit of consolation for them that they can take into the next round, which is they did make it close, even with that disconnect. This is a lovely shot as well by Gesto, and nearly finding that flick as well onto the Frost of Vasi. It was very good, but unfortunately not quite good enough. That lineup as well, just very nearly. It was a round of almost but not quite for Team EOS.
Yeah, you can't help but feel for Vasi there. If you're sort of 2 patches ago, I think, when they initially nerfed that damage per shot on that Frost weapon, he would get that pick, or if he had something with a bit of a higher rate of fire, he just left that final target on such a low HP. It's just unfortunate, because it was a great bit of decision-making in the heat of the moment, but sadly it doesn't pay out. Now, hopefully, both these teams will be going into this as a 5v5, and I don't think any spawn peaks are being attempted, so Zach Gaming also should have a full roster heading into here, but still, they're going to have to be careful. This team of EOS has proven to be very, very aggressive. They've got a lot of confidence behind them, despite the pressure of the situation they're in currently. Final Playday for them, and they're pulling out all the stops. They're trying their best to make this a dominant win, but Zach Gaming have still survived 30 seconds here with no damage traded their way, and EOS playing a bit more passively here.
Yeah, my eye's going to be on Basari. Obviously, has had 2 opening deaths so far in both of these previous rounds. I want to see something a little bit more, even if it's just not dying first. It would still be an improvement from these first couple rounds, and it can maybe present the opportunity to get something going. But it's EOS again that do find that opening impact. Zelut this time going down, who was a big part of that previous round, and now finds himself out of it. Could potentially spell good times on the horizon for Team EOS.
Yeah, but Zach Gaming getting that breach down immediately. They're setting a very fast pace here, and that forces these defenders to get closer to the site. We're seeing that Wamai Eventi have to provide more and more attention towards the site itself, as Shlibu narrowly missing engagement with Risk there. Still playing a very aggressive angle, but look, those ace canisters, I'm not sure. I think maybe they've been mute jammed below, because only a single sort of bit of the wall actually being broken, forcing a vertical nade. But in that time, Freddy G is capitalized, gets another 3v5 now. Despite a fast approach from the attack, they didn't do all the necessary work, and that's actually resulted in EOS still having this advantage. Sure, Cruzbow gets 1, but it's still 3 versus 4, and with only just above a minute left, and the vertical nade actually missing, things are getting a lot worse for Zach Gaming here in this attack.
Still potentially an option to throw a grenade over that breach and destroy the jammer, but obviously you have the risk of those Wamai magnets as well, although it seems like that's exactly the option that they've gone for, and it has been successful, taking that over. In goes a flashbang, that one does get caught by the magnets. Still EOS in an advantage, and still, with only 40 seconds, they have to try, Zach Gaming that is, have to try and work this disadvantage into something winnable, because right now they're in a very tough spot, and that's made worse. Freddy G, NT, all finding kills, and it's Tim to top it off. EOS, they had some initial failures on this top floor site, but now the success is theirs, and they retake the lead. It's 2-1.
Yeah, and that's another kind of sad round. Zach Gaming looked to be setting a very nice pace there, but they just didn't deal with the mute jammer, and I don't believe they had any of those impact DMPs either, so perhaps it was almost just a compositional failure for that attacking side, really. It led to a lot of time being wasted, a lot of players just sort of waiting, biding their time, waiting for the moment when the strat and the push can actually be executed, and it just never really ended up happening. They missed that first attempt at the mute jammer, and from that point onwards, EOS just kept getting picks. It forced the attackers to just run in through doorways, and that's never going to really go well. So unlucky for Zach Gaming, and even more unlucky because they're going to have to attack basement now. Once again, Team EOS, they've gotten that 2 out of 3 so far in their rotation. It's unlocked their first site back for them, and they looked incredibly strong the last time here, despite giving Zach Gaming more than enough opportunities to get picks and get a man advantage. So this is just looking even more sort of favoring EOS here, as Zach Gaming are going to have a very difficult job here. Sure, they have slightly swapped things up with Risk going on that Nook. That's another set of nades you can use, but it's actually the only set of nades on the entire attacking side here. A lot of flashbangs, but not much potential to actually deal with this piece of utility.
unpunished aggression has kind of been the story here in this game so far. EOS have just been getting away with too much. Last time on this site, it was Blasari that was playing the knock, and they actually had 4 nades. Now they've reduced that down to 2 and swapped up the operators a little bit. I'm not entirely sure the methodology behind that, because it feels like maybe you'd want even more grenades, because, again, it's been unpunished aggression. They haven't been able to dislodge these positions from the defending side of EOS. But question marks aside, it's still very possible to get something done here. Zello and Enti exchanging some damage. The prone angle and the very tight pixel both being used to good advantage, and they kind of come away even Stevens amongst that, both of them losing about 20 points of health. So coming away from that engagement, nothing too bad for either of them. However, that is pretty bad. Gashto does find the opening pick, and I believe that's the first time that Zach Gaming have the opening frag inside of this game.
Yeah, indeed it is. They've been gifted that disconnect in round 2, but yeah, in terms of pure opening picks, things haven't gone well for them so far, but it's a completely different story here in round 4, as they've got 2 completely unanswered picks here, and with more damage taken by Enti on top of that, things are looking a lot better for Zach Gaming here, but they still have to convert to that basement side itself. That means either going down a staircase or dropping a hatch, and this can be a very, very risky position for certain attackers, and we're seeing a lot of kind of rotations from the attack here as they're trying to find the best and safest way to provide more aggression here towards these final 3 defenders. We're seeing Enti pulling double duty, covering both tower stairs and bunker, so these defenders even are being spread quite thin. This is exactly the opportunity Zach Gaming need here, but if they keep wasting time wondering whereabouts to go, as that clock keeps going down, these positions get more and more powerful, as Freddy G has just proven gets one. Enti traded out though 4v2, but Freddy's still causing issues around Freezer. Risk can't push forward. EOS, they've got a chance even more so as Tim gets one. Things looking now very doable for the defense.
Yeah, and it all comes down to this utility. The mirror window is so very strong, and they don't have the utility to clear it out. Tim finally does fall. Freddy is on an off angle here inside of Freezer. In a 1 versus 3 with 30 seconds left, Blasari has now noted that this position is free. They're going to know that he's somewhere, and they take the kill, take the fight, and take their second round. Zach Gaming ties up at 2-2 as we keep on trading these rounds, Joe.
Yeah, and that's quite a hefty blow for EOS, considering how much stronger they looked when they first attempted the basement. You'd think this would be a done deal, but Zach Gaming have really kind of blown them out the water there. They've had a great start to that round, nothing like we've seen before. So really good play from them, and if EOS caught a bit off guard by that, we could continue to see the effects of that round play out. EOS need to sort of not lose their confidence after such a crushing blow there, because they still looked quite decent throughout the round, but it was almost a done deal when the attack got those first 2 picks. So intrigued to see where they choose to go now, if it is going to be a reattempt on the basement, that it is, with potential for a tertiary site to maybe pop up there. But no, EOS, they're confident in their defensive setups. They've seen where they went wrong previously, and it kind of is just a case of winning your ones earlier on, it seems, because aside from that, the setup was good from EOS, but they just didn't have the manpower almost to keep it up. So it's just a case of win your ones. Siege is a shooter at the end of the day, so stats, or strats even, aren't the be-all, end-all, and it's just a case of getting those picks.
Yeah, we see Shliwu back on the Wamai as well, which is something that we saw in round 1. He was just floating about that meeting area. In that previous round, switched onto Vigil, started to get a bit more aggressive, and it ended up being to the detriment of EOS. We talked about the unpunished aggression that we'd seen so far from EOS, but that previous round really was the antithesis of that. We saw just all of the aggression from EOS be punished pretty much by Zach Gaming, and it's what you want to see, the attack not allowing the defense to run wild around the map. And this time we're barely seeing it. You've got one place of on tower stairs, and that's all of the off-site presence that you have from this defensive side, and it looks like Shliwu is actually just going to rotate down full bunker here from EOS, and that's going to allow so much control to go the way of Zach Gaming, and he's already down to about 25 HP, just as quick as you can click your fingers.
Yeah, it's a questionable strategy, as you said, for the fact that it gives the attack so much space to work with, but at the same time, it might just be the response that EOS needed after those very sort of aggressive roamers were cut down so quickly. But speaking of quick, Zello already marching through bunker, trying to clear the positions. Freddy G, none the wiser, he's downed, but not taken out. As Shliwu expertly goes aggressive, gets that trade, and it still means that EOS have that man advantage. That Freddy can be picked up. He's in a relatively safe spot as well, as it was only Zello going for that sort of solo mission through bunker. So that's very, very nice play from EOS, and it's left Zach Gaming in a bit of a tricky situation. It seemed like the whole linchpin of that attack was the chaos caused by Zello's push, but with him being silenced so quickly now, once again, it's a case of just marching down those staircases, and Zach Gaming, they don't look as confident as they were at the start here, as they're having to push into these mirror windows. Things could get very, very bad for them.
Only 2 grenades as well. You've got some magnets coming through from Schliru as well, so this utility is going to get called out as we head into the final minute of this round. Vasari still holding down in Laundry with the diffuser. The rest of the attack upstairs making their rotations back round to bunker, which has been re-barricaded. So that's going to be more audio information for the defense as Vasari now trying to at least find some swings come on through. Freddy G is low, so one of these bullets, even if it's just through a wall, could end up downing him and cause spoiler to this defense, but the time continues to tick down. Schliru finds a second. Kruzbau at least finds one, but Schliru is tearing apart Zach Gaming. There's Vati as well getting in on the action. Vasari with 1 versus 4, and Schliru is continuing to go hunting with Vasari now sitting up on this hatch. He's being read though, like a book. It's not even a book, a library. Schliru so aware of the play that was going to be happening. 4 kills in the round. He spoke about how they want to be winning their gunfights, and that they did.
Yeah, Schliru had just a fantastic round there, from his mechanical skill and ability getting those picks, and also his decision making. You point out there, reading that the player would try and go for the hatch to just pick up 1 or 2 exit frags, and even earlier on in the round, getting aggressive to save his teammate. It was exactly what EOS needed there, and it's brought them back into the lead, brought them out of what was potentially been a sticky situation, as they can now convert this half quite safely into a 4-2 here if they have the same sort of ability and style play as they did as they previously attempted the second floor. Things could have gotten very, very sort of tricky for EOS there, but with Zach Gaming losing round 5, it's become a lot more comfortable here. The secondary site is easily winnable for the defense here, as long as they don't get too aggressive early on, as long as they don't give up their lives for free, and well, as long as they keep that wall closed, because that has been the sort of difference maker for EOS in that previous round. So yeah, it's no surprise to see NT playing around that bottom, playing around Classroom, just to ensure that those vertical nades do not go unpunished, because that closet wall really is the sort of linchpin of the whole attack. If you get that open, it puts so much pressure on the defense. We saw that back in round 2. And, well, if they want a repeat of that, Zach Gaming, they're going to need to do something very, very similar.
Yeah, I mean, the accidental attack pick was nearly the bigger brain play that Zach Gaming could have hoped for. And even still, a 3-3 half on the attack on Oregon is really not a bad place to start out. And that actually sets you up quite nicely to take the game potentially, 7-4, 7-5. Assuming that you do get that sort of standard rotation. So 3-3 would be nice, but NT doesn't want it to happen. He's been lurking downstairs, takes out Risk, who I assume entered in through bunker, which you quite often see from a knock on these sort of top floor attacks. So it's very well done by the defense to identify this, and you've got Schliru as well reading into the vertical play, but it doesn't quite head out. And actually, he's been called out on the rotation by Kruzbau. It's into a 4 versus 4 zone.
Yeah, I'm really baffled as to how that closet was as well. I thought maybe EMPs were used, but there's nothing. There was a player down below, so it can't have been a vertical nade. Was there just simply not a jammer from Schliru there? Because if so, that's a massive oversight from the defense. Luckily, Kim's got a very nice angle there at NT, already picking up the slack, getting another pick there with a Nitro cell. Oh, third there is Zello on that bottom white window. NT has got to be very, very careful here, but could be gifted with a free pick. Wesley as well, just holding tight angles. There's a lot of angle holding here in this round, and the attack don't really have the time for it. Sure, over a minute remaining, but with a lot of their entry points covered by the defense, they need to get something. They need to make a difference in this round as Lessery. He sees Tim's angle, in fact, but Tim's holding it a bit more passive. That floor is thrown, though. It's going to mean he's not going to get that anymore. And Pavasi, ooh, bad so miss there onto the attacker. Still missing shots. Eventually gets the slackers. Kruzbau just seemingly had no clue he was there. Still a 2 versus 4, though, as EOS look to take this round.
Freddy's going to be watching for the player to step in. It's actually NT to find the kill. Zello did get one caught inside of oil pit. Nothing to do. Freddy is going to close out